Pipe Network presents.
On this episode of Season 4, let's talk.
In just 8 months of having like a really good business, we're losing it because of something that we cannot control. So I was like, when we were cleaning the condo unit to turn it over, I was just looking at it and I'm going to miss this. But it gave me hope. Once you had, once you have a taste of like a little amount of success, you don't want to let it go. But you're also very confident enough that I already know how it feels. And I don't want to let go of that feeling, but I have to let go right now. But the important thing is the experience.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Rajiv Show, and I'm your host Rajiv Doreswamy. And this show aims to help reach out to those who are currently struggling in life and to remind you that life is indeed beautiful when you're inspired to make it your own. Before we get into this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to whichever platform you are using. And if you want to connect with me, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at The Rajiv Show. Hey folks, welcome back to The Rajiv Show. And my guest today is basically one brother of mine who I met in college. And I'll give you a little bit of background on how I met him later on. And basically, knowing this guy for a very long time, this guy is a hardworking, phenomenal conversationalist, and he's got a lot on his mind. And I've always wanted to have a conversation with him. It's just that booking him is a pain in the ass. And over the period of the years that I've known him, yeah, it's more like we have the love-hate relationship, which is always mutual. And yeah, and let me introduce my guest, Harold Cacho. Hey pal, how you doing?
Oh, hey there, guys. My name is Harold, and really nice to meet you guys. I hope I can also give like a lot of value with what we're going to talk about right now. So yeah, thank you, Reggie, for inviting me in this podcast. It's really an honor.
And before we get, of course, into the meat and bones of our conversation, I gotta ask: could you give a little
Mm,
bit of background about yourself? You know, current situation. You know, all that stuff, all the good stuff.
mm. Um, you know, uh, in college, I met Rajiv while I was taking up a bachelor in forensic science. So basically, I was preparing to work for the police and to investigate like crimes here in the city or anywhere. But when I graduated, I had a sudden change in direction or like in my decision in life. Then I started like going into sales. I started pursuing sales. Or up until now, I am selling insurance and investments. And then when the when it, wait when the pandemic happened,
Hmm.
I started pursuing entrepreneurship. So I decided I wanted to focus on setting up my own business because I saw an opportunity when the pandemic hit. Because I thought that since even the big companies are getting hit, it's the perfect time to actually like start a new business or begin a startup so that maybe after this pandemic can I can have an assurance that I can compete with bigger companies or people would see the importance of like supporting local, and that's it. Right now I'm a full-time entrepreneur, but I'm a part-time salesperson of one of the companies here in the Philippines. There.
Awesome. Interesting. Interesting. You've opened up a lot there. And before
Mhm.
before saying let's take a time travel journey. I as
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned earlier in the introduction, I only met you in college. I wanted to ask you. I don't think I've
Yes.
ever asked you this question before. Is that if you and I were classmates in high school, who are you? Are you the same guy that I knew in college, or you are much more less disciplined?
Oh, I'm very different when I was in high school.
Hmm.
When I was in high school, I was very active in extracurricular activities. I was like a kiss ass person when I was in high school. Unlike I was in when I was in college.
Huh.
I think you noticed when I was in college, I was already very used to like conflict and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, we fight often.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
But then we
yeah,
compensate
we
with
get into like
dinners.
arguments. Yeah, we get into a lot of like what do you call that, like arguments and everything like that. We
Yeah.
fight in the food court. You know, when I was in high school, I was always like a kiss ass. I was always a teacher's pet.
Uh,
And then whenever we talk when I was in high school, I was always a teacher's pet. I always want to like impress a lot of people.
uh,
And then I always worked hard so that I would have like uh, awards for extracurricular activities like debate and everything like that. When
uh,
we got into college, we always talk about, you know, like having an argument with our teacher
uh.
out before we went to the a class before we went to the our usual food court conversation sessions and everything like that. I was very different when I was in high school compared when I was in college. I think, you know, somehow I had like a fair share of like exposure of being exposed in like different kinds of activities like debate, English club, and
Mm.
even I was even a part of like an extracurricular club for fighting against drugs when
Ooh,
I was in high
interesting.
school. Yeah, then I was giving like real solutions. Like for example, what if we try to investigate like, you know, drug sources here near our school? Like the teacher or my advisor for that was
Mm.
like getting worried. We should not go deeper into that. That's the police's work. And I was
Territory.
like, so what's the point of me like being, you know, what's the point of me like being the president of and student council against
So you're more.
drugs if I can't even help the police like that? So I was more of like an active person. Unlike when I was in college, I was more like a laid back person that
Yeah.
doesn't really care about my grades anymore.
The funny part
I
about
cared more
you.
about like experiencing. Oh yeah.
Yeah. The funny part about you that I remember in college was you're always broke. But I'll get into that story later on.
Yeah, I was like
Interesting.
saving a lot of money when I was in college because, you know, when I was in high school, I was my parents were giving me money. When
Mm.
I was in college, I was like really trying my best to save money because I wanted to buy things and
Mm.
I wanted to use my own money to buy things, like things I really want. So, you know, you can tell them whatever stories you want, but I don't. I don't. I don't give any. I don't have any. I don't feel. I don't feel embarrassed of whatever I was doing back then.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to feel about it. Maybe I would feel proud. I would feel embarrassed, but I don't care.
Yeah. So, a little bit of background on how I know Harold, folks, for those who are tuning in. Harold and I, like I mentioned earlier, he and I are good friends in college. And the first time we
Very good
met,
friends. Yeah.
yeah, well, frenemies. We always love and hate each other. It's that love and hate relationship bond that's always striving between me and him.
Hmm.
He agrees on
But
that.
actually, that's better compared to
Yeah.
what the other relationships I have had experience when I was in college. At
Yeah.
least Rajiv is the type of person who would like get in your nerves, but he's
Mm.
not going to take advantage of you or like use you for his own advantage and leave you like you know, like getting damaged, or like having to be responsible of whatever you've done. That's what I liked about Rajiv. At the same time, you know, our love hate relationship was like going to push you to be better.
Yeah.
It's like there's like friendly competition between the both of us. Like, oh, he's doing this, I also need to do this, like that. Or he has an idea
Hmm.
that I kind of agree about, but since you know I want to argue with him, I would like just make up some points that would disprove
Yeah.
whatever he's thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
In
So it was
connection,
like college. It was like 3 years ago.
yeah, it felt like decades with the pandemic. The funny thing, connection with the word
Yeah.
argument. Um, the funny story on how I met Harold in college was, I think this was during my second year, and
Yeah, it was your
during
second year.
yeah, during the second year, I think, I don't know if it was second year, first year. I don't know. I don't remember. Like I said, it felt like ages ago. Um, I got moved into the debate, and because I think at that time someone recognized me because I'm very vocal with my thoughts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I joined the debate, and I think I had a partner at that time, and it was shocking enough that the moment he and I met during that session, I think it was around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. We just hit it off. I mean, it was just like one of those conversations that we would end up, I think we were talking and talking and talking, and that's how it built. It just built with the conversation. And I think one thing that I'm proud to say is that the fact that I've met him was, I think, one of the main
Mm.
inspirations to the idea of this entire Let's Talk series, because that conversation with him, although yeah, uncredited, yeah, to his regard, uncredited to his regard, is that the Let's Talk series was my main concept behind the Let's Talk series is to start a conversation and to learn something, as always. And that's how I got to learn Harold in that regard. We ended up talking, and our conversations led to music. It was basically anything goes. After I met him,
Mm.
it's funny enough, after I met him, I met a lot of people, a lot of interesting people as well. But he was like that catalyst for conversations. And it's funny, I think I mentioned this also in my previous episodes, that I never had the ability to conversate with people in my batch, in my department. I kind of go outside of my
Oh, really?
department. Yeah. How I know Harold, I know Mark. Um, all these other
Mm.
guys, we basically had like a small group in our thing, in the cafeteria. And that's how it all led, like
Yeah,
one
yeah.
conversation led to this thing. And that's one thing that I admire Harold for, and that's why I respect him a lot. And that's the mutual love and respect that I have for him. So yeah, that's the basic small background of how I know Harold. And I've never asked this question. Coming to think of it,
Mm-hmm.
after all the years that I've known you, I've never really asked this question. Is that what led you to forensics? Is there a story? Is there a backstory to what led you? I mean, was there a movie that you said, this movie needs justice, so I need to go figure out how to, you know?
Yeah. You know, the story behind it is going to be very embarrassing.
Do tell me. Do tell me.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing. You know, forensic science was not really something I was interested in before got into that course.
Hmm.
I thought it was interesting because, like, for example, I came from a special program when I was in high school
Hmm.
that specializes in journalism. So
Hmm.
journalism is something like very subjective.
Okay.
Then I got into forensic thinking that, this is something new out of my comfort zone, because I was planning to become like either an architect, fine art student, or a, what do you call that? A mass comm student.
Hmm.
But the problem was, there was a girl I met in high school who also got like forensic science, that I tried to follow her. Then the problem was when I got into forensics, that's when I realized that, oh my god, she actually has a boyfriend now. Then I was like, shit, I'm wasting like 4 years. I'm going to waste 4 years of my time trying to follow a girl.
The worst part is not that. The worst part is it's not me.
Yeah, it's not the one. She's not the one I ended up with. So like, you know, I sacrificed my passion over a girl. So guys, children, if
And
you're
it's not me.
yeah, if you're listening to this, please don't waste your 4 years of your life trying to like pursue a girl. It's going to be like very romantic, everything like that, until
Yeah.
you realize you fucked up your life because of that.
By the way, shout out
Yeah.
to Nadine if she's gonna listen to this. She made a small cameo.
Yeah. Yeah, she made a small cameo. It's really good. Yeah, at the same time, it just made, the conversation even more interesting because, but I'm really thankful I met Nadine actually because thinking about it, with all of the girls I pursued, and Rajiv, right?
Wait, how did I end up in
been
that line?
friends even before. I mean,
With all the
yeah,
girls, and then suddenly
we've
you
been
highlighted
friends
me.
in college. I mean, with all of like, we became friends before
Yeah.
Nadine and I even became close
True.
during college, right?
True.
And you've known how I was like a hopeless romantic. I've been
True.
pursuing a lot of girls after I realized that that girl was like already had a boyfriend for just
Yeah.
like that. Then I had a lot of problems. Then thinking back about that, I think Nadine is really the perfect person for me now because she's very supportive. And thinking about it, like with the other girls I pursued,
Hmm.
I think they wouldn't have the same, what do you call that? They wouldn't have the same support as Nadine is giving me right now, and especially we're during the space of our lives that we're already independent from our families. She's very understanding, to be honest, and she's very supportive with whatever shit I'm doing right now, and I really appreciated it. I appreciate it, and I think I wouldn't have the same support if I ended up with someone else like that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's really cool. That's really cool.
And we have a really good cat as a kid.
yeah.
We really have a cute cat.
Fascinating. It's fascinating. I don't know what's going on, but for those who are tuning in, I do not know if you could hear somehow both our roosters and chickens in the background are somewhat synchronizing. Once once the
Welcome
chicken
to the
is
Philippines.
once my chicken is done croaking there, suddenly your chicken I could hear from my monitor. It's kind of weird. But anyway, we can't do anything much about
Oh,
that.
that's actually a chicken from the neighbor. A lot of like foreigners whom I know, because I also have like a lot of foreigners who lives in the same apartment as we do. We've been having like a lot of like conversations about how they are transitioning in the Philippines, and as Filipinos, I think we do not really notice that. Like for example, the roosters, the dogs, and everything like that. What do you call that? I didn't notice it until like my neighbors were saying, here that's really noisy. They say there's a lot of like chickens like everywhere. You don't need an alarm system anymore. You don't need an alarm clock. You already have the
Roosters.
environment waking you up during the day. They said, I was like, I still sleep up until 12 a.m. 12 p.m. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The roosters, man. They're like, okay. Maybe I
to
got
wake
used
up.
to it. If they're not used to it, Yeah, and our landlady here in our apartment is actually half German. Then she's saying,
Mm.
when I'm in Germany, I don't feel like anything is alive anymore because you don't hear the roosters. I was like,
They're
okay, this
probably
is what you get when you're exposed with other cultures. You try to live in other countries. Yeah,
so many memories.
like talking about roosters.
Yeah, so many memories I want to share
How
and
about in
thing.
India?
In India,
How about in India?
India is much more different. The experience of it was much more different. The life itself is more. I I don't know how to exactly give it an image because it is Asian in its essence, but
Yeah.
it has a different spice or different kick to it. you know,
Yeah, just like the food, the spice and
yeah.
the spice and the flavor is very different, and I really like it as well. It's very colorful. It's
The
very tasty.
the funny thing about my experience there, I think the first few 5 days or few days, instead of roosters, the supplement for not the supplement, the you the alarm system there is not roosters, it's more like cows, because I remember,
House?
yeah, because when I went there I was like around
Oh,
5 years
okay.
old, yeah. And I, re- I remember it was funny.
Cows are the ones that wakes you up.
Near I, I've mentioned this in my episodes in Sing, is that during the time that I spent in India, the we had like a go signal for, because when I was 5 years old, and first time experiencing cows, stray cows basically. Near my neighborhood, there was like a house that was actually selling homemade cow milk. So
Wow.
yeah, and then
I would really be happy to be neighbors with them
yeah,
because I
and
really like fresh milk.
yeah, I don't remember how much it cost, but the old man who made that happen is had like all these saying he had a garage, and he had the stuff and everything, storage and all that stuff. And the funny thing about
Yeah.
that, those moments when I was there was, it was perfectly timed to 3:30. There's a symbolism behind the arrival of the cows, because earlier at that time, before I got into high school, before I got into the social life in high school, it was very funny that I conversated with kids, kids my age, 5 years old or even younger, and we could not really play on around 12. We tried. There were times that we attempted to play around 12 a.m. because of the hot sun. We could not really enjoy much of
Yeah.
the we could not enjoy much of the games that we were playing. We played cricket, the hide and seek, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there were the earlier times we used to. For me personally, I used to hear, like, once I hear like a cow moo at 3:30 when the cows gather around the neighbor. That's like my go signal to get out of the house and go play. It's like, you know,
Mm.
and yeah, and
So,
around 3:30 the sun
so
is media.
there's
Yeah,
there's a time where there's a time when uh cows actually meet each
yeah,
other somewhere.
yeah. I mean, normally,
Wow.
because in our custom we follow the British customs, where you have breakfast, and then you have lunch, and then you have afternoon tea, which is not a thing here in Philippines. That you have afternoon
Yeah,
tea,
the
and then
Philippines.
in that afternoon tea,
But here
a
in the
lot of
Philippines, I
people
think we have siesta.
see. Not much here in La Trinidad. I've never heard of that though, but it sounds familiar.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think this is how they call it, like siesta or like merienda, something like that.
Yeah, merienda. Okay, yeah, merienda. I know, but we
But
rarely have that.
for
We
for most of us Filipinos, merienda doesn't mean like you eat bread. we still eat rice during the
Yeah,
afternoon. It's like afternoon lunch.
dinner or something, lunch, dinner kind of thing. And coming back to the
Yeah,
thing,
like that.
to the memories that I've spent is that yeah, I mean that was like the go signal because I noticed that everybody is out and playing, and I think the sun is not really as hot as much as it is during the afternoons where it's right, the sun is above your head. It's somewhere where the sun is setting, and we get together and we just basically uh we play cycling, cricket, mostly cricket because I was trying to learn the game.
Cricket.
Yeah. And
So
yeah,
like here in the Philippines, we usually play basketball, right? Especially during the afternoon. There, you usually play cricket.
cricket. And I think
So Philippines is more like American. There, it's more like the British style.
yeah, uh I have a correction on my previous episode when I said cricket is the national sport. Actually, field hockey, apparently someone corrected me. So, a friend of
Wow,
mine, field hockey
field
is the thing.
hockey.
Yeah, but
Here's
for me personally, in my experience, the thing that's more popular, according to my perspective of it, was much more the cricket because of the commercialism and how it's well produced in the media. It's rare that I've seen
yeah.
a hockey match that's very when you have the NBA, you got the NBA, uh, and you got all these guys tuning in. The marketing is really good, and the marketing and the game is really it's really well organized. It's really well spent in terms
Oh,
of the stuff.
they're really like spending a lot of money for that.
Yeah, in order for it to
It's
get your
like
attention, NBA.
PBA. Just
Some
like
some
here in the Philippines, we have PBA,
uh,
right?
all these other good stuff. Some of them are really rarely seen because only when you're channel surfing, yeah, you'd find out, oh, this guy's playing against this guy. But in India, the most when you switch on your TV, most likely is going to go into the cricket match because the guys who play cricket are more popular, I guess. The field hockey guys, they're very rarely known. They're rarely known. They rarely do interviews that are really popularized. So, but that's just my perspective of that correction. But yeah, cricket is one of I kind of miss that game.
Yeah. I
And
also do not know how to play cricket actually. You you know what? I have like Nadine and I actually has like a master plan. We're really working hard right now, both of us.
hmm,
Um, we're we're participating in a lot of things. Like for example, if you know Team Agraraman, like the photo video team that we're
hmm,
actually like building right now with some of our friends
hmm,
for advertisements and everything like that. They are actually like content creators in Baguio and La Trinidad. Or some are actually in Benguet.
hmm,
Then some are also like photo video suppliers for weddings, debuts, and everything like that.
hmm,
The reason why we created the team was because we want to reach more people. We want to reach more clients collectively. So if we have a team, we can collaborate every time we have a project and actually like create a really good profile
hmm,
or portfolio so that we can show it with other people and unlock like bigger clients. There, I'm actually helping them with like the legal side of things. I'm making their contracts. I'm making sure that all of their papers for the business, because we want to make it a legitimate business. uh, the reason why I'm doing that is because I also want to earn more money with photo video,
hmm,
or like with my videography and photography, and I can help them out and then reach more clients, maybe reach a bigger market. And for example, right, I've been talking about some of the businesses I'm doing.
hmm,
Actually, I'm really, really trying my best to learn as much as possible when it comes to like setting up a business and making it automated, is
hmm,
because I really want to travel full time. So it's like what I want to do with my life is like I want to travel the world and
hmm.
just work for 2 hours a day and still have enough money to travel the world. And we were talking about India a while ago,
Yeah.
and Nadine and I is actually really planning to go to India, if everything goes well. And I hope you can also join us to go there, because I think since you're from there, you grew up there, it's like your hometown, and it's like your turf, like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be really good if you can go with us and like travel around, make some content together. And we already have friends who's also going to go with us. Maybe we could also make a travel team so that we can, it's really, I mean, I already have Nadine and everything like that to travel with me, but I think it's still going to be better if we have like a group that we can travel together with.
It's interesting. Interesting. Anyway, I
Yeah.
want to ask, I want to dive deep into some few personal stuff. But
Mm.
before we get into those personal questions, folks, for those who are tuning in, we will be back right after these few short messages.
I like to have a good time when I listen to my horror podcast. Her left arm
Oh,
was
that's
chopped
so.
off.
Oh my god,
Caused
really?
a panic all over the
Prolonged
country.
their deaths for like months and
The
months.
frightening, alarming, real-life tales show is my horror podcast. My horror podcast. That's
Give
it?
pause it.
This
'cause-
is your scary part? Be scared and laugh hard with the frightening, alarming, real-life tales show every Friday on all major podcasting platforms. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Rajiv Show, and my guest, my frenemy, best friend, enemy. I don't know how to really classify it. My guest, Harold Cacho. We were talking about forensics. We were talking about entrepreneurship and future plans, and a little bit of background on how I know this guy. And yeah, and before the break, of course, I asked Harold that I'm gonna ask him some personal questions. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna start off with the one question that I have in mind is that out of all the experiences that you've had, when you mentioned forensics, you said you did it in pursuit of a girl. I'm sure you've had your
Yeah.
your
Mhm.
higher highs and your lower lows. I want to ask
During college or
during life
with
itself,
the
life in general. I gotta ask though,
oh, well, yeah.
in your lowest of lows, what was going on to your mind and what motivated you to elevate your thinking in order to, get into, okay, I'm here at this lowest point. I don't want to be here anymore. And then you change your mindset and then you reach for the stars.
Up until now, I'm actually still reaching for the stars. Every time, I really don't know what's my lowest of lows, but I have a lot of like, uh, I had a lot of experiences where I plunged into one of the lowest times in my life. For example, like during the pandemic, I really had a lot of experiences uh, uh, that would, that I can say that is part of my lowest parts of my life, like something like that. You can edit whatever I said out. That's irrelevant. But here, for example, during the pandemic, I really wanted to help a lot of people, but the problem was I cannot help people with the state I am in right now or back then. So I really wanted to help people. And another one was, I really want, like for example, with one of the events that we had with our team. Uh, wait, there's a lot, but I only want to talk about at least one or two.
Sure, sure.
Mm, one of my lowest of lows actually was during the pandemic, when the pandemic just started.
Hmm.
Um, it was very hard to sell insurance that time, and we were just only new with becoming independent, so we had our own bills to pay.
Okay.
And during the pandemic, we were just like, we were very fresh. Like we just started 3 months. We were just 3 months in being independent, paying for our own apartment, paying for our own food and everything like that. And we didn't even have that much appliances here in the apartment. So we didn't have a refrigerator. So we had to go out every week or every 2 weeks and buy as much meat as we can and like try our best to preserve the meat so that just to be able to eat have enough protein or have enough nutrients to survive during the pandemic and everything like that. So preserving food was very hard. Managing food was very hard. Managing your money was very hard, and to know that it was one of the lowest times uh, I had to experience with my job as an insurance agent, because it was very hard. It was proving harder to sell insurance and investments during the pandemic, during the start of the pandemic. So we had to pay bills. The good thing about that was at least we had the landlord and the landlady of our apartment who's very generous enough to give us like at least a significant amount of like uh, discount for the rent. So it really helped us a lot, and that's when gave us hope that okay, since this is what's happening, this is how the homeowners are actually helping us mm, helping us survive the pandemic. This is what we're going to do. So we took advantage of it and like we bought appliances. Then from then on, like small milestones,
Hmm.
like for example, buying your first mattress, buying your first like being able to have small wins
Hmm.
and comfort you for comfort you during the hardest times of your life, like during the pandemic. Actually, what gave me comfort was being able to get a refrigerator, and then after that it was like um, having a stove, for example, made me happy, kept me going. Having a new mattress, having a new set of uh, what do you call that? Bed sheets and like pillows, like that.
Mm.
And we also experienced like a really big loss when with our real estate business, because we had to like let go of our condo just to be able to survive and just to be able to like cut loose ends and like um remove or like what do you call that? Just for us to cut um expenses that would not give us any benefit during the pandemic. That was really hard. I remember myself like looking at the condo unit that we were running for almost a year, like around 8 months. I was like looking. This was the first like really successful business that we put up during that time, and then the pandemic happened. Like it was short lived. So in just 8 months of having like a really good business, we're losing it because of something that we cannot control. So I was like, when we were cleaning the condo unit to turn it over, I was just looking at it and I'm going to miss this. But it gave me hope. Once you once you have a taste of like a little amount of success, you don't want to let it go, but you're also very confident enough that I already know how it feels. And I don't know, I don't want to let go of that feeling, but I have to let go right now. But the important thing is the experience. Because, for example, you already experienced how to set up your business, right? How
Yeah.
to be there, how to do it, how to make it possible again. What are the things you need to do in order for you to continue or to continue doing it or to do it again? Yeah, up until now, I'm confident. I'm clinging on to the idea that I was on this level and I can do it again. The only thing I have to do right now is just to repeat what I did
Mm.
and go for it again. And at least when I get back, it's I'm going to be better. I'm going to be a better businessman or like something like that. So that's what's motivating me to like pursue more with entrepreneurship because I was able to do it.
Mm.
So I am confident enough to uh, be able to do it again with the same system with just a few tweaking. I can do it again. That's what's pushing me to go further, pursue other businesses that would work for us right now, like that. So right now I'm working on starting two businesses. One already started, the errand business, right?
Mm.
And the other one is the coffee business. And along with the coffee business, I have a different plan to. I have a different plan, and I think I can work with you with it as long as you have time. If you're not busy, I would. Let's go have coffee somewhere in town and let's just talk about it. I really would need a lot of help with the other business I'm trying to put up. It's
Sure.
related to the coffee business. Yeah,
Wow. I mean,
there.
I don't know what to say. I mean, had I known all of this, uh, I would have done my best. You know me. You know me. And me being close
Oh
to
yeah.
you, I would have done my best to help you. But I never knew that it was that the lowest. I was there. I mean, I felt like I was there in that story. I never. This is actually my first time hearing this, and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's powerful. And the fact that you're still here,
Actually,
the fact that you're still here is that's good. I mean, I do respect I do respect your hard work, and it's always that love, that mutual love and respect that I always have will never die.
thanks.
Um,
Yeah.
and-
You know, during the pandemic, I really didn't know who I could trust or who I could tell my stories with because, like, um, we have a mantra in our company. Like, we want
mm,
to help people, right? We want to help people, like,
yeah.
realize their capability, their financial freedom, and like that. We want to teach them how to be financially stable and financially independent. But the
Mm,
problem was there were office mates. I'm just to be very honest and to be frank, I had like some office mates who were like very distasteful in social media
mm,
that you looked up to them because
mm,
they had like beliefs that you want to respect. For
yeah.
example, they kept on saying, I want to help people, like that. I really want to help people. I want to help people do this. I want to help people realize this.
Mm,
But when the pandemic struck, like everyone is like,
paranoid. Yeah.
panicking. Yeah, like panicking. They just want to make themselves like secure and everything like that. And some of the office mates I have were like posting on Facebook that these people are very hard-headed. They are out there in the public market, like scattering around, but they are also there, like in the middle of like the crowd, and like just
Mm,
taking pictures, like saying these people they go out every 3 days just to buy food. Why can't you buy food for like a month? That's when I realized. Going back, I think the story I haven't shared this to people yet, but I'm
mm,
going to share it to you now. When I was a kid, so I was around 7 years old. It was raining. The what do you call it? The overpass
mm,
between Maharlika and Sunshine Park, right?
yeah.
From the market to Sunshine Park, there's like a stair there
Yeah. Correct.
that's facing Abanao Square.
Mm,
It was raining. My mom bought like 5 kilos of rice. Then suddenly that 5 kilos of rice was the plastic bag was ripped.
mm,
And then the rice was like scattered all over the wet floor. And you know
oh,
what I saw?
yeah.
My mom, she was like crying and like doing her best to actually get the rice while other people are like running around from the rain, stepping on the rice. And of course, it's very, when you're a kid, then you saw your mom crying. It was like it's rare because some adults are just going, they want they have this kind of ego that I'm not going to cry in front of a kid, but my mom did. So like I was surprised, Mom, why you were crying? And I started crying as well. I started doing what she's doing. We're picking up 5 kilos of rice on the ground, wet. Then, that's when I realized, oh my God, we're poor. Yeah. Well, for 5 kilos of rice, so that this is what we're willing to do. And to put it in context, like if you have enough money, for example, like that, right? If you have enough money, you would not cry over like 5 kilos of rice on the ground, very dirty. People are stepping on it, like that. Then that's why I really wanted to, what do you call that? Like say I'm going to be successful. I'm going to be rich. I don't want this to happen to my mom again. I don't want her to see crying over like 5 kilos of rice, like that. So I looked for people, and I saw some of those people in my current company I'm working for, because at the end of the day said I'm going to help people realize this, and I'm going to help people like realize that they can be financially stable, they can be financially free, everything like that. But when the pandemic happened, then a lot of people are, because coming from the situation we were in when I was 7 years old, I know that there are people like we were right now. So that's where I'm getting all my empathy from, because I came from there and I know people are still there. So posting people saying they're hard-headed because they're going out to go to the market every 3 days, out of context, is very distasteful. And I actually said, what if I was in the position of those people right now? What if my parents and I were still where we were when I was 7 years old, and I saw like posts coming from people saying we're hard-headed just because all we can afford every 3 days is like 3 days of like food or 3 days of grocery. Then that's where I plunged into like one of the lowest parts of my life. Like, I really didn't have any directions, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, because I mean, I really respected a lot of people and like said I want to be like them. Then the feeling of like those people were like attacking who you were, like, or who your parents were. Like they said, it's your responsibility to do this during the pandemic. Okay, it's your responsibility to save up money so that you don't have to like go 3 days every day. But it does not work that way. So my biggest problem was, I respected those people. I patterned my future with those people. Then I just got disappointed. That's when I got confused. Where am I going to go next? If I don't feel like they're like the type of people I want to be in the near future anymore. So yeah, so for the past few months, I was really looking for what I want to be near future. Then I realized the one we're talking about back then, there at the food court. I want to travel the world and I want to work while traveling the world. That's it was like a snap. That's what gave me a sense of purpose again, to pursue for something again. Was actually what I wanted like 4 years ago when we were talking in the cafeteria together in college. It was like, I just want to travel the world. I want to work while traveling the world. And that's what I really want. That's what makes me tick. Having like a good car, having like a big house is nothing for me compared to like being able to travel the world, experiencing what the world has to offer, sharing my story with like other people, and giving my parents like security that you don't have to cry for like a bag of rice anymore. Yeah, that's it. That's what motivated me. That's what's motivating me right now, even if like, my finances are still all over the place.
Mm.
I'm still figuring out how to like have good sources of income in order for me to like unlock the ticket to Vietnam with Nadine, for example. I'm still figuring
Mm.
out how to unlock to travel India with you guys and with Nadine, of course, without having to like being worried that, oh my god, I'm going to go to India, I'm going to live there for a month, and like I don't have any money for myself, or I don't have any money to give to my parents, or have enough money to like maintain the apartment that we have. I'm still figuring those out, but since I have that goal,
Mm.
I'm definitely going to work for it, because at least that's what's giving me like a sense of like thrill. It's making my life like interesting. Like that you're running after something that you yourself can understand, that makes you think, that gives you a sense of purpose, like that. At least right now, I'm no longer patterning myself with other people's success.
Mm.
I'm not patterning myself to become someone else I'm not. There, at least now, I'm not going to be disappointed with other people, because if you get disappointed with other people, you also get disappointed with yourself, and you're going to lose a sense of purpose. If you get disappointed with the person you're patterning yourself with,
Mm.
oh my god, what am I going to do next? So at least if you're patterning yourself with what really makes you tick, what you really love, with what you really love, and then that's for sure. If you fail, it's on you, but it's
Mm.
okay. It's just something that you can live with, like that. It's something. I
Wow.
really don't know how to end my what I share.
Interesting.
That's what's keeping me going is, what I really want for myself. What I s- yeah there.
Wow. That's really powerful stuff, man. Um, I, I don't know how to follow up with that. I mean, everything that you've said is really so powerful that I can't even imagine how much pain you went through. And I wish, I mean, to my extent also, I wish that I could do my best. You know me, I do my best to help and reach out and
Yeah,
you know help you the best I could. And I'm always up
actually
for that
talking to
conversation. Yeah, I'm always up to that
you know
conversation.
you
Mm.
know this podcast is already a big help, and I really thank you for that, because having to share my experiences with someone is already really very helpful. And at the same time, having a friend who is willing to listen as well is very, very comforting and like very helpful. I also have Nadine, so I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
Through that, what do you call that, like existential crisis I was having for the few months, she was there. So
Mm.
she witnessed everything. She witnessed me breaking down because of like what I realized about, oh my god, like I thought these people would help me, but
Yeah.
they would only help people who can they help them, like that, who they
Mm.
so that. But right now, I had like a sense of purpose again. Like, this is not going to stop me from helping people like have financial stability and everything like that. All I have to do is just listen to myself, and like all I have to do is like do my job for them, and that's it. Sometimes we just really get plunged in the lowest of lows, just to make us think and make us realize things that we haven't realized yet. It's going to teach us a lot of like lessons, so that we could be ready for the next big thing.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. I think we could agree with this one, because I know you're the same. Like, just go at the front lines, let yourself get bombarded with like problems, face the problems. And that's the difference with us and other people. We stand in the face of like problems, we stand in the face of crisis and despair, pain, but we voluntarily do that not because we want ourselves to get defeated or to get damaged, but it's where we can learn a lot. So that's where I'm getting my respect right now. I respect people like you. I respect people who who goes in the face of risk, compared to those people who don't want to take accountability, compared to those who just want to take credit, like that, because they would not learn anything. Because, for example, they make decisions, they don't take they don't take responsibility, they don't take accountability of their the responsibilities they make. Instead of compared to people who are taking accountability and responsibility, taking the fall or taking the bombardment of like the consequences of your failures will teach you more than, you know, washing your hands, saying I don't have anything to do about that, it's Harold's problem. You're not going to learn from that anymore, right? Like that. So yeah, I'm willing to make more failures. I'm willing to experience more just to learn more and be stronger and to know what better the next time I experience the same problems or even worse, like that.
Man, it's been long since
so
we've...
I really appreciate.
I mean, wow, this is after ages of conversations that we've had. We've never had a heart-to-heart like this. Me and Mark, one of our friends, we've had a heart-to-heart, but mostly I was kicking his ass. I hope he doesn't listen to this portion. Most of the time that he and I had a conversation, we were both kicking each other's ass. I mean, we had that sentimental love. Mark, Harold, and I also, we rarely talk. And the last time I spent a day with you was, I think, when we went to... And I've never expected this. Right out of the bat, I never expected that. To me personally, I felt... I was there. Basically, when you were telling me the story, I was there with you in the story, and I felt that the hardships... for me, I can admit the fact that I've never experienced it in such a way that I'm seeing it from one personal perspective. It's not really the arrogant way of saying it. Is that I've felt what you've gone through, and you know me. Anytime you could text me, I'm always I'd always make time for you, and no matter how busy I am, that's always my sentimental value for you guys. And that's my love for you guys. And but on my other side of it is that I'm only seeing it because one is I've never had that experience of being in that moment with you, and with what you've shared. I mean, I felt like I was there, and while you were painting the picture, I was really there, and I was there with you, and when you were young, and the story, I mean...
Oh yeah.
And that, I mean, my heart goes out, and my love and my respect goes out to you now that I have to... I've learned that I need to tone it down a bit now when it comes to conversations with you, because I understand now.
I mean, I'm not saying that story for people to like pity me or anything like that. It was just like to put things in context so that, you know, people could have like a map of where I'm coming from, why I had this kind of reaction when people started like saying, you know, poor people, it's their fault, like that, or like, why can't poor people do this? If only they can do this. I hope it's really that simple for poor people to do that. And, you know, sometimes you have to be in those kinds of situations so that you can empathize with other people. I'm not saying that I'm still there.
Hmm.
I'm thankful I'm no longer there in that situation. But what I'm saying is that people are still in that situation, or even worse. Sometimes people are living lives that are unimaginable for us. That even uh, or even I, as a person coming from that kind of situation or coming from that story,
Hmm.
sometimes I cannot even imagine a person like living under a rock, literally, and like surviving for how many years or like how many days,
Hmm.
because his family is already like non-existent, like that,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, I'm telling this story because I know people are also still in that story. Like, I
Hmm.
don't need people's like pity, or I don't need people's like concern about me, because right now my family and I are already okay, and thank God for it, right?
Hmm.
But other people are still experiencing worse, or that's the same or even worse. And what I'm telling other people is that I think we should still be more understanding. You know, even if we're no longer there, but if you're seeing people like chastising uh, people who are still in the same situation as we were before,
Hmm.
it just really breaks my heart. But it just really breaks my heart. And the problem I was sharing a while ago, like I'm very confused because people want to help other people. Now I'm realizing that they're just like doing it for show.
Hmm.
That's actually a small problem compared to the problems of other people. But still, it's my problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that.
It's a
But I'm
perspective.
over it
Yeah.
right now.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But you know, bro, when I got into college, I think it was really a big privilege to, be in college alone, meet people like you and Nadine. I'm very thankful for that. That only few people can like have friends like you who can talk about these things, who can listen to you, who has a podcast of his own, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy, and I really want to take time and congratulate you for that.
Cheers. Cheers. I share the same love as you. You give it back. I always want to share that love back to you because you know out of all the things out of all the things that we've been through, there's always, like I said, it goes back to the beginning. We've always had that love hate relationship, but it not, doesn't really separate the fact that we are inseparable when it comes to conversations. Because one thing, I don't think I've mentioned this to you, the reason why I admire you so much is not because of the looks or how broke you are during college. The
Oh,
reason why I admire you,
oh,
and
thank you.
this is coming from my heart, basically. Um, I've always wanted to say this to you. The reason why I admire you a lot is because of the fact that you can hold up a good conversation, and coming from me, that's big because it's huge. I mean, to me personally, I've always wanted to have my experience. I want to share a little bit of my experience here as well. Is that um, I've never had so much fun having a conversation with someone that is not talking about their neighbors or talking about their ex-boyfriend from 5 years, 10 years ago. I mean, I'm already
Really?
fed up of that. I'm a fed up of those whole shenanigans. I mean, to me, it's I don't really I don't live for that stuff. I mean, I often ask myself, okay, if I'm having a conversation with this chap, what do I learn? That's the main thing, the value of it, you know. And when I have a conversation with you and I lock horns with you in a conversation, it's always about something. In the end of it, there is always something to laugh about, something to cherish about, something stupid to think about,
Yeah.
and mostly it's all about those moments. And one thing about you is you also give me some facts about you. You've opened my perspective, my peripheral view on on Baguio. Actually, so many things I really want to be thankful for you for is during the college years. Although the remaining years, yeah, I got busy, you got busy, we kind of slowly disconnected. But regardless of those tiny moments, you were the person who gave me an open perspective into discovering your city. You gave me that, you know, this is your city and you
And
have the
yeah,
right to discover it. And I
no, no,
all those
I
stuff
was, I was very impressed.
yeah. Those that is
Yeah.
one thing that I'm grateful for. Had not been for you, I would have never walked around Bookends or any of these places that I know of
Mm.
now. Is because you've opened my eyes and said, "Hey, this is your city, man. Go discover. You go walk around, go." And then yeah, I slowly enjoyed that. And one more thing is to add that into Sing is you're an amazing conversationalist, and I always love locking horns with you in terms of conversation. Love arguing. I
Mm.
love because one thing is at least the fact of the matter is if a good conversation to me is not okay. Okay, you learn something from someone and then that's it, you take that and it doesn't work that way. There should be a little bit of give or take. Listen dumbass, we always have those conversations. Listen dumbass, this and
Yeah.
this and that, and we always curse at each other. But in the end of it,
Oh yeah,
end
yeah.
of
I
that
remember.
thing is that at the end of it, there was always that value. It's like, oh, I never thought of it as being this possible. And had not been for you, I've
Oh
never
yeah, yeah.
gotten into debate this thing. That's one thing I'm grateful for. That experience that I had when you were training me. That's how we met. You were training me to do debate, and we were just we were just saying we just clicked basically. And to end that up, that end of that thing was surprisingly we won. We went up to the semifinals, and we were
Semifinals,
yeah,
yeah.
I was with with my partner at that time. My partner who I was working with at the thing, we were looking at each other and saying, "Wait, oh shit, we actually went up to the semifinals. What the hell is happening? Or what's happening here?" We just went in with no expectation. We just went in, we played the game, and it so happened that to me, I see it as a game. We just played the game, and then we end up to the semifinals. And then, of course, I was not really disappointed at the loss because the fact that we went to the semifinal itself is the shocking experience of a lifetime. I mean, and yeah,
Yeah.
that was the fun experience, and I'm grateful for. I want to be thankful for all the things that yeah, all of that is accredited to you. Had not been. And yeah, those are the things that I've always wanted to actually say it. I know it sounds weird that we're having this conversation over in Zoom and me revealing all these emotions. But if we had a face-to-face coffee with a face mask on, it will still be less authentic rather than this. So yeah.
Yeah. I was really surprised and very impressed. You know, um, you're already like a significant part of the creative community here in Baguio or in our city or in our province actually, or even in our whole region actually.
Hmm.
And that's really nice. You were first actually to be a part of like a significant part of like the creative community. I was just like late for how many months I think or years. I'm still starting,
Yeah.
and I really hope that the creative community would be more proactive and less with politics. I hope,
Yeah.
and with less politics and with more activities, it would be like far better than how it is right now actually. And the good thing is, uh I think the arts community here in Baguio or the creative community here in Baguio is flourishing, like on their way to uh, in evolving into something better, and I'm very excited for that.
Anyway, wow.
So there.
We've had a very emotional. This is the first emotional. I mean, this is my second emotional thing conversation that never made me expect that. I never expect that I hear a different version of Harold. And wow, after all those years that I've
The
known you,
pandemic really,
yeah, I know, I understand, yeah, it's tough.
yeah,
But then
brought
again,
it brought back a lot of memories.
the best it took the best out
Oh,
of us and then it challenged us, but still we're still here, we're still alive, we're still kicking. Anyway, to wrap up this entire
yeah.
conversation, which was interesting in the maximum level, Of course, some of my listeners would want to connect with you via social media. How would they find you on social media, pal?
So you can connect me through social media through my Facebook account and my Instagram account. And I also have a Medium account where I post my blogs there. So if you want to read some of my blogs, you can go to medium.com/Harold Cacho. That and then I also have like a Facebook page, Harold Cacho Film, so that you can see the scene here in Baguio City and Benguet, and at the same time you can also see the scene here in Cordilleras. So visit my page and give me hit me with a message if you have a few questions about how to start a business. Yeah. There, is that okay? Yeah, and I also have like a business, Pinas Errands. So if you have errands and you want to save your money and time, you can message us and we'll do the things, or we'll do your work for you, like that. And at the same time, I also have like a coffee business, but it's still about to be released because we're still figuring out the system on how we are going to do the packaging, at the same time the printing. Then where are we going to get the supplies for our coffee, and how we are going to send it from here to your doorstep. There, it's Kapitan Coffee Blends, and for our errand business, it's Pinasa Errand. So you can, I think Rajiv is going to put like a link down below of those businesses, and please leave a like, share, and if you're very curious, if you're a very curious person, you can try out our services first, or try out our coffee soon. Like that.
Awesome. With that in mind, I mean this conversation with my friend, my best friend from college, really brought me to tears. Second most emotional, or third, I don't count anymore after the first. Uh, I can't believe I was actually I was there. I felt the moment. But yeah, I want to thank my guest Harold Cacho, and of course a cameo from Nadine. Again, shout out to Nadine. Uh, if she's tuning into this episode, I want to thank both of them for being a part of this conversation and being a guest. Um, and hopefully, somewhere down the line in the upcoming seasons, I'd get you back into the Rajiv show, and hopefully, who knows? Yeah, we'll do a lot of crazy stuff in the future. But yeah, I want to thank you, pal. I hope I hope you stay strong. More power to you.
Yeah. You too, man. I'm very happy that we got reconnected again, then talk about, the future, the past, or the present, whatever it is.
Yeah. And for those who are tuning in, I hope you picked up a thing or two in this amazing conversation. And of course, wherever you guys are, stay safe, and wear a mask. We're still in the middle of a pandemic prior to this recording. And with that in mind, cheers, folks. I'll see you in the next episode.